Hello and welcome to a special video for Simon Says Artwork. In this one, I've been planning this video for a while and I'm going to be showing you my process of drawing still life studies. I did this last year and it was a lot of different objects. It was how I set up a still life, how I lit it, and what I found interesting as an object and what really what it says about me to have these objects be the studies, be the focus for my still life studies. Now, if I were to tilt the camera here to show you, see those there? That's the still life studies I'm going to be showing you. That's only a small selection of them. So what I'm going to do is take you through every one that I do for the whole collection and talk about how I do it and what I was drawn to about the subject. So, okay, let's get started. Now this video I'm going to be showing you things like this, where I have this coffee jar and I make this type of still life image from it. Now it's quite a bold image. Sometimes it's very scratchy and scribbly, but I'm just trying to get a sense of what each object is. Sometimes certain details I like to heighten to make sure that they're present in the representation of the subject. I think that some of these objects are, I don't know, they're kind of very much a representation of who I am as a person. The still life objects that I'm using really say a lot about who I am, what I own, and what it is that makes up my environment. So little tripods that hold my phone as a camera, a thermos flask and things like that. Sometimes I'm not happy with how I've drawn it, so I'll draw it again just to try and make it better and improve upon the elliptical shapes. The toothbrush and toothpaste there doesn't have the detail of the branding, but I quite like some of the more minimal drawings like this because the shape I think is quite nice and the forms just work quite well. My shoes, where it's quite heavily hatched, just shows the wear and tear of the shoes and the form of them. And this lump hammer here, I just quite like the shadow shape underneath, how it's a vacuous shape. Now this featured in a little competition, a flower in a glass, some binoculars. I just think that some of these objects become different than, I prefer them to what I'd have from photographs of the images. You know, it says a lot about what I value of the images. Still have this same bottle of whiskey. I've had it for 3 years and I'm not much of a drinker, so it'll be at the same level as it was then. My bin. But now I'll try to show you how I draw it and how it goes. So here I've got what we call a Stanley knife in the UK, but I've heard that in the US you call it an X-Acto knife, and I'm not sure about other countries what the word is, but we call it a Stanley knife. And for this you can see it's very loose, very rough. I'm using a Pentel fountain pen, but it's not an actual fountain pen, but that's what they call it. They call it fountain Pentel, and it's a weird nib, but I quite like it for quick, loose drawings, and it works for me just to get me drawing. And any pen that you can use to get you into making a drawing is worth trying out and having to hand. But that's how I do it. You can see how it's not exactly correct, but it's definitely showing the distance between the blade and the shadow beneath it, which gives a good sense of the scale and the depth and the form. I quite like doing the kettle for the reflection. You can see me in the reflection, quite warped there. And then this is quite a minimal piece. I think on certain days I just struggled more than others to do these still lifes. So yeah, the tissue box wasn't too bad, but again I think I could do a lot better. This one here I really struggled to do one of my larger sketchbooks, and I wish I would have spent more time. Ones like this I quite like because it shows the different planes and shadows, just like these grips here. And you can see I've started to use a different pen to just a fine liner. I actually use a marker pen to get the darker shadow. I like this. This is an old-fashioned scale where you put weights on one side and your thing that you're weighing in the other. A ball of string, which is quite abstract. There's no outline on the left-hand side, and I quite like that. It's all just scratchy. And a dishcloth. So I thought a dishcloth you can drop and fold in different ways, so I did that one, and then I did another one like that, just to show the different crevices and different ways that it can fold up. And it's similar to drapery. Now that's a little tub of oil pastels that I still use, and I try to do different objects to show the solid and the material, the decorative, like this. Now that elliptical shape isn't very good on the top, that's something I didn't like. And that's my ceiling fan, which I think I was having an especially difficult day there because I didn't get a great ceiling fan perspective. That's a little GoPro camera, and that's the case that it goes into. So things like this can make quite interesting little studies. That's a maiden which I hanged my washing on, and I made some mistakes. You can see the white pen at the bottom. And then that's some soft pastels. Look at all those colours. Sorry, that's my joke. And then a tub of acrylic paint. And I quite like the dark, pen for the shadow. Really creates a new sense of depth to these drawings, to have the fine liner for the subject and then the marker pen for the shadow to just be cast over to the side, which I thought was quite a nice addition to these studies. And this table again is one of the weaker drawings I think that I did, because I just didn't get the form right. Whereas I really like the pencil because the nib itself is actually white, whereas the pencil it wasn't, it was just the light that was catching it. And I quite like that for the nail clippers. Certain things just work better than others. That clock's a really nice clock which we have in the house, a decorative one which moves around and rotates, but I didn't quite get it right. And this one's one of my favourites, just a tub of brushes. And doing these things are really, I don't know, it's good practice. You commit to the lines because it's pen in ink first, and it means that you have to demonstrate how you can show form and really show an appreciation for what something is, the actual the textures of these objects. This is quite an old ceramic cup, as you can see. I just thought it'd be quite nice to try to include things which are slightly decorative and of an older time. But yeah, I wish I would have filmed more. This is one of the few which I did film, so I'm glad that I can at least show you the process for that type of a drawing. And it works out like that. I think it works quite nice. Some more scratchy than others, as you can tell, but altogether they make quite an interesting collection, and I think that it was a real achievement, so I'm glad that I got it done. Okay, so that's the video done. Now, those still life studies are something which I really value. I'm very glad that I did them. It took quite a while to do them, but I think actually I did them for an Inktober last year, so it took a month to do them. I did one every day, and it's something which I'd like to do again in the future, to try to find different objects. I think that was the hardest part, is to select an object every time to draw, but I'm glad that I recorded a couple of them. I wish I'd recorded more so that I could have shared with you the process for different studies, but at the end of the day I'm glad that I've at least done them, because doing them is more important than recording it, because you get the value from it really. So I hope that you enjoyed that video. If you did, then please leave a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell, and I will see you in the next video.